A week after Gary learned he was being investigated for cruelty to animals, he got a call from Fish and Wildlife to say that they and the BC SPCA would be there the next day for a thorough inspection.
They just came in swarms.
When I arrived, I was greeted by a conservation officer and told I would not be allowed to go in. I said I understood this and proceeded to record events from outside, relying on Gary to tell me after the fact what had been happening inside. Fish and Wildlife were concerned with the animals Gary had that fell under the Controlled Alien Species Regulation, that is, the alligators, venomous snakes, and the snakes over 3 meters in length.
Fish and Wildlife want me to have more security, which we've taken care of already. We put locks on the doors. When we first moved in, the first thing we did was we put wire mesh down 2 feet, and I had to dig it out so that they could see that wire mesh, and they took pictures of it.
The irony is that by this point, Gary had decided to try to find other homes for these animals. He'd given up.
Here, come here, quick.
He was trying to find a zoo that would take them, someplace that would mean they wouldn't be euthanized.
How come the box is like that?
Because he pushed it like that. Hear him? He's nasty. This guy is very nasty. And I'm not sad to give him up.
He will, however, be sad to lose Brittany, his Burmese python that he's had for many years.
He's very dear to my heart because I've had him ever since he was born.
3 conservation officers from the province's Fish and Wildlife Department remained outside, while 3 others conducted the investigation. The SPCA were also there in force. And later, a veterinarian arrived, called in by the SPCA. And then came a bylaw officer from the municipality. From her, Gary learned that while the new provincial regulation outlawed snakes over 3 meters in length, the municipal bylaw went even further, banning snakes only 2 meters in length.
So I may have some that are 6 feet I may have to get rid of.
A representative from Environment Canada was there as well. Rather surprisingly, they were concerned about Gary's taxidermy collection.
Because it's against the law to have them.
And why do you have them?
Because they were all donated to me by a conservationist. All these taxidermy animals that I have now were done about 30 years ago, if not more, and some of them 60 years ago. All the taxidermy was done before any of these laws came about. And so they were donated in a will to me, and so I became owner of them. But now the government says, no, you're not owner, we own them.
All in all, it was a grueling experience.
I realize what's going on. It's totally blatant. I think I'm being used as an example.
Oh, do you?
Yes, and I don't think anybody's ever had this many people come all at once and try to, figure ways of shutting me down.
In the end, it was the SPCA who caused Gary the most grief on several levels.
With the vet, they went through every single animal.
Every one?
Yep, and checked the weight, checked the temperature in the cage, checked the anything that they saw was not right, then they would write it down.
They gave Gary 14 days to comply with requests to get special and very expensive lighting equipment and to install special thermometers in every cage. They also said the bird cages weren't being cleaned properly and that the birds weren't being fed.
And I've had these birds for years. They've never suffered.
And Joker beside you there, he's a wild-caught African gray, I figure, because he is not very friendly at all. He bites, and he's getting more and more friendly as time goes on, yeah.
How often do you clean the cages?
Every other day, 2 days, yeah. And, they said they weren't fed. And I said, that's crazy. I know they were fed. And they said, no, they weren't. And he said, there's a lot of chaff. I said, well, they've been eating all day.
The inspection began at noon. Fish and Wildlife had told Gary that it would likely take no longer than 1.5 hours, allowing Gary time to get to a scheduled presentation later that afternoon and for them to go for lunch. It was 3 hours before Gary was able to leave.
What's that?
I have to go.
No, you don't want to be late, right?
Anything, Eamon? Last thing?
No, we're good. Thanks for your time. You know what's going?
You got 1 sec.
Yeah. Don't pull back.
Gary was really tired.
Well, Fish and Wildlife have been pretty good. They're sorted things out. They're happy that I'm getting rid of everything. And so they're giving me a benefit of doubt. But they do have some things that I have to do. I have to put locks on certain doors. I have to put a piece of beam built into the ground so that no animals can come under a door. Those are things I can take care of. But the SPCA is nickel and diming me to death on every little detail.
Okay, we'll see you later.
I'm totally complying to whatever they want, just because I know that I'll make a difference. You know, I will make a difference. And I may not be able to use the same kind of animals that I've always been able to use, but there's still lots of animals that I can bring in here that will fascinate and educate and, you know, inspire people.